Okay, so is it more to this story about this 10-year-old getting handcuffed for urinating outside in the back of his mother's car? Or are we just going to point to it and say, well, it's Mississippi, so it shouldn't be surprising? Or is that just the way it goes by the court of law? Lord knows, I have my own diagnosis when it comes to having to use the bathroom, and sometimes I haven't always done it by the book, but I am an adult, and I know that it is not appropriate to use the bathroom outside. But have I done it before? Yes, I definitely have. But a 10-year-old to get arrested. His mother was not present at the time. She was inside of an attorney's office taking care of some business. But when she became present, the situation was addressed by an officer. The officer was willing to let it go. But oh no, when others get involved, they're influencing this one, they're influencing that one. And to me, it's just sounding like, yeah, we did it. We locked him up. We're going to lock him up. And he's not supposed to be doing this. And he's supposed to know better. And to me, it just got out of control. He was 10. All that paperwork, the money that has to go into the processing side. Was it really necessary? But let's get into the story.
Shaking and thinking I'm going to jail.
10 years old, sitting in the back of a Senatobia police cruiser. What could he have possibly done to wind up there? Urinate in public. There's a photo circulating on social media, sparking outrage in the community. I spoke with the boy's mother about what happened and asked police why they felt the need to haul the boy off to jail.
I'm just speechless right now because, for one, I can't believe it happened. Like, why would you arrest a 10-year-old kid?
Last Thursday, LaTanya Eason stopped by a Senatobia attorney's office for legal advice. She says within as little as 10 minutes, a police officer interrupted her meeting. He caught her 10-year-old son, Quantavious Eason, urinating behind her car.
I was like, son, why did you do that? He said, Mom, my sister said they ain't got a bathroom in there. I was like, well, you knew better. You should have came and asked me if they had a restroom. So he was like, since you had it like a mom, then he could just get back in the car.
But Eason says things quickly took a turn for the worse when several more police cruisers pulled up.
Another officer came over there and was like, your son got to get out of the car. He got to be arrested because he can't do that.
I started like crying a little bit, and they had like took me down there, and they got me out the truck, and I wouldn't know what was happening.
Quantavious says they held him in a jail cell, and his mom says they charged him with child in need of services, then released him to her.
That could really traumatize my baby. My baby could get to the point where he don't want to have a counting with police, period.
I get scared, start shaking and thinking I'm going to jail.
We reached out to Senatobia Police Chief Richard Chandler. He sent over this statement. It says in part, in this situation, an officer personally witnessed a 10-year-old committing an act in public which would have been illegal for an adult under these circumstances. The officer did not observe a parent on the scene during the initial contact. The mother was located at a nearby business shortly thereafter, and the mother was advised her child would receive a youth court referral for this matter. Under these circumstances, it was an error in judgment for us to transport the child to the police station since the mother was present at the time as a reasonable alternative.
So much was brought up that it has my head hurting, and at the same time concerned about what other little boy might have to use the bathroom, or what other little girl or adult for that matter. I think it just happened to be that young kid's lucky day, so to speak, where an officer, he didn't have time for it because the one was willing to let it go, but the others that had arrived, they had time for it to keep pressing it and wanted to do it by the book. But it was stated that it was an error on their part because the mother was present, but because it was an act. Because it was an act, they're not saying that that was a mistake to have handcuffed the child because of the act that was committed, so to speak. But man, that just goes to show you, you just never know who's watching and who is willing to put you in handcuffs and who is willing to make sure that you go downtown to be booked, processed, and that you will have a day in court. But here's the thing. He's a child. That was even the wrong location. When was it appropriate to start charging kids and locking them up to be around full-fledged adults? Like, for them to be exposed on what can possibly go on. And then that's another traumatizing experience, because you have adults who prey on children. That does exist. That was not right. I just see a lot of misinformed with training, what things could have possibly have been avoided, because yes, we all know, yes, we have all, again, done things we may not have necessarily gotten caught. So he had to use the bathroom. His sister said that there was not a bathroom available. Oh, that's just heartbreaking. And who knows? He could have even had some form of a diagnosis and just wasn't prepared to have even used the bathroom in the car. I don't know. But I just feel like it is a little bit more to the story. What more can it be? He was an underage child. I don't really know. But it'd be interesting to see how this turns out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not surprised that several other police cars did show up to deal with this 10-year-old case situation. But why? Why did it have to take all these other officers and then to just even go along with, like, no one can speak up? Because see, that tells you right there how when you're trying to do good, when I'm saying good, de-escalate a situation. But then you have the opposing side that's like, no, we got to do this. And then you're outnumbered. It's always interesting when bad outnumbers good. It's not enough people basically speaking up in the world to make changes. And again, the fact that this is Mississippi, it seems like it's just always something. It's something always going on in all these cities and states, that people are dealing with. But it's just something about when you hear the name Mississippi. Oh my gosh. I was already thinking on another story time of when I did have a situation, how I wound up having to use the bathroom in Mississippi under some peculiar circumstances when I was younger. But imagining to be arrested over that, I think that's why too it's just a little heartfelt, because yes, I have a condition with overactive bladder. Yes, I've been in situations where I have had to excuse myself because there were, like, I was in the middle of nowhere basically. Like, where am I going to go use the bathroom at? Because if we in this location, we're going to have to drive to this location. It's going to take this long to get there. So what am I to do? So if the sister said it was no bathroom available, that's what she said. And unfortunately, it turned into what it did. All the little boy wanted to do was use the bathroom and now wound up being traumatized. I have heard some doctors say, like, even trying to use the bathroom, like if a child, so to speak, is being hollered at, or they're having bathroom issues and being hollered at, or they're not making it to the bathroom in time and, basically voiding on themselves or voiding in the bed, they become traumatized. Now with this happening, this engagement, this exchange with the police officer, his bladder organs might become traumatized. Now, this is just my opinion. All things are alleged, but you all can chime in if you would like. I just can't even talk no more on it. Just too much.